What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video. Today, we are going up to Buffalo, New York and visiting the Buffalo Bills. Bills Mafia, this fan base is absolutely insane. Probably the most famous thing that they're known for. Apart from being nicknamed Ofer because they went 0 for 4 in the Super Bowl. Um, Honestly, I really wish that Kelly and Thurman Thomas, all those guys, I wish. Andre Reed as well, I wish they won some of those Super Bowls. So, kind of unfortunate, but this team, ever since they went on those Super Bowl runs, has not really been in contention until recently. The first time they went to the playoffs in like something like 10 or more years was with Tyrod Taylor going 9-7 a couple years ago, and they've been actually putting up some interesting numbers. Now they are atop of their division, supposedly, according to the NFL, since Tom Brady has officially left the division. And I mean, I think that's probably the reason why the Bills have been always so far down is because they face Tom twice a year, man. Like, they're facing one of the hardest teams twice a year, and then they're going to Miami. And I mean, you go from Buffalo, New York to Miami, Florida. It's like, it's a big culture change there, which we'll see here in a minute. But yeah, Buffalo, they have a lot of talent, a lot of young talent, and this team is definitely poised for a type of run. It's all up to whether Josh Allen wants to be the quarterback he was drafted to be. He was drafted because of his arm, yet he's been a check down machine. He's very interesting in the fact that he does exactly opposite of what people want him to do, even though he kind of sucks at what he should be able to do. Whatever, let's look at the team. Just went over Josh Allen. Again, good dual threat quarterback. He is overhyped by people who love him, but extremely slandered on by people who hate him. I think he's in the middle, maybe top 20 quarterback, top 15. I think he's probably around that range. He's definitely. I think right now, considering the division, he's better than Jarrett Stidham. I wouldn't. I would actually call him better than Cam Newton right now. Not like 2015 Cam Newton. Obviously, I'd be completely blasphemous if I said that. We gotta see how Cam Newton is. He's better than Sam Darnold. He's better than Ryan Fitzpatrick, unless Fitzmagic happens, because I mean we all know Fitzmagic happens any day. And he's definitely better than Rosen. And then at the moment he's better than Tua because of the fact Tua can't play, but Tua has a lot more potential. Running backs, this is kind of the interesting bright spot / question mark of the team. Zach Moss, one of my favorite running backs in last year's class, was drafted in the third round there, as well as Devin Singletary out of FAU. Really solid running backs, very elusive, a very interesting core because Buffalo, I used to think of like Chris Ivory, like more of these ground and pound type guys, and now they're switching to LaShawn McCoy was once there, and now you have Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, these more elusive guys. It's very interesting because Josh Allen is more of a power runner himself. So it's weird how it kind of like switched in that way because Tyrod was more of the agility guy. So really interesting. Wide receiver core, they just traded a first round pick for Stephon Diggs. Absolutely beautiful move. I think that was a great move for the Bills and for the Vikings. I think that was a best case scenario for both teams. Like, I don't think Buffalo would have I think they're more of a you need to really help out Josh Allen right now to help him develop mode, even though they're in like a kind of win now / development mode. They're really in between, which is an interesting place because while they can just be building through the draft, which they have been, they also can have the opportunity of winning now. Similar to Kansas City, who just paid $503 million to Mr. Patty Mahomes. Deservedly so. I think that maybe he should have probably taken the hometown discount and probably earned his money in sponsorships and shit. But, I mean, Kansas City, you can't blame him. Offensive line, this team's doing pretty solid. Dion Dawkins is probably a top 15, top 10 tackle as position. And, I mean, he's just been developing. He's just been getting better and better. And, I mean, they have pieces there. Probably not too many that you can just name out of the blue. But I know that they got a tackle. I keep forgetting his name from Washington. And, I mean, it's almost impossible to pronounce his name when you don't remember it. But he's a very good swing tackle. And, I mean, this team, ever since they lost Cordy Glenn, they've actually been able to replace him very well. So, cheers to Buffalo. They have a solid line. I know they don't have their all-star center anymore. It's kind of unfortunate, but I mean, this team is like their weakness isn't their offensive line. Their defensive line is another strong suit, man. I mean, you have Jerry Hughes there, and you have Ed Oliver. Those are the two biggies. I'm not 100% sure if Shaq Lawson is there. I think he might be in Miami. But regardless, I mean, even without Shaq Lawson, this team is absolutely poised down in those trenches. Two very solid talents. I saw, well, unfortunately, the one game I got to see of Houston versus SMU, Ed Oliver sat out because he was being a little bitch to his coach. But, you know, he is quite an athletic talent, and he's very solid. Buffalo did a great job snagging him later in the first round. And then looking at the linebackers, they have some pieces there. You know, Matt Milano is a very solid option, and they still have Tremaine Edmonds, who was like 19 years old at the draft. So I mean, like absolutely young talent who's proven himself to be a solid middle linebacker. Nothing too crazy, but still solid. Secondary, I mean, this is where they shine. Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, guarding the back, absolutely amazing duo. And then you also have Tre'Davious White, and then Levi Wallace has been showing out too. So, I mean, this secondary is pretty damn solid. So, cheers to Buffalo, man. They're doing a damn good job there, and it's really just the offense is not that great, just because of Josh Allen. I think that they are one franchise quarterback. Again, Josh Allen's top 20 to me. I think they're one franchise quarterback away from being Super Bowl contenders every single year. So if Buffalo gets somebody like, let's just say, a Tanner Morgan, who I'm way higher on than most people, well, probably than everybody, but still, if they get a guy like Tanner Morgan second, third round, I think that this is totally flipped on its head. Totally flipped. And, you know, I think that Buffalo could easily be challenging Kansas City for the Super Bowl. Just like going every single year to the AFC Championship. So without further ado, let's kick it off. First week, New York Jets go to Buffalo. Buffalo's going to start off well. They're going to want to show out and say, hey, we're the kings of the division, yo. Brady left. We're not letting Sam Darnold be the one who puts his foot down and stamps on our throat. So Buffalo, I mean, it's when you think of New York, they have some solid talent on their D-line, so they'll take the run game away. But the runners that they have are more zone schemes, so they don't really run up the middle. So I don't really think that Quinnen Williams, who, I mean, I saw personally, I trained next to him for a couple months, absolute animal. I don't think that he's going to make that big of an impact when the running backs are totally on the other side of the field and they're running outside the tackles. So cheers to Buffalo for basically being able to out-scheme their own division, because the same situation goes for Miami, except this time you're going from Buffalo, New York, to the muggy, disgusting heat of Miami, which I'm giving this one to Miami. I think Fitzpatrick likes to light it up early in the season, and it's always like whenever you're in a division, you always light it up against each other. It's always a good game for the most part, except for when teams really suck, just because of the fact that, just because, I mean, you guys are so used to playing each other that it's like only micro increments that you have to continue preparing for, and it's like you just get to know people very well. So scheme against each other, find each other's weaknesses, and etc. etc. The next week, LA goes to Buffalo. This is no competition. Buffalo's D line is going to eat LA alive, and the secondary is not going to help. You know, the secondary of Buffalo is going to make it to where Jared Goff can't throw that fast either. So yeah, Buffalo, they're cooking with Crisco for this game. The offense is also pretty well based for the Los Angeles Rams, just because, I mean, Aaron Donald's that type of dude who's possibly the best interior defensive lineman of all time. That's an argument. I mean, it's obviously not fact, but I mean, he's a beast, and you have Jalen Ramsey there, but losing the linebackers and everything, linebackers are the biggest key to stopping this team. Biggest key to stopping this team. So LA is really void of those type of talents, and I think Buffalo's going to take advantage. Speaking of linebackers, I kind of shit on the Raiders for their linebackers, but I was corrected in the fact that I totally forgot that they got Nick Kwiatkowski, and he is, I mean, as a Bears fan, I saw him more as like a replacement level guy, but he definitely is far from a scrub, and he and Corey Littleton make a very solid duo. They could put Arden Key out there if they even want to, which I don't think is a great idea, but I mean, if they want to stick him at like outside linebacker and then rush him every now and then, that would probably be a good move. But yeah, linebackers are the key to stop the run game. And then in the pass game, they still have Trayvon Mullen. They have Damon Arnett or Damian Arnett. They have Abrams, who I totally forgot about, and then Lamarcus Joyner as well. They're a solid unit, but a lot of it is young talent, so I don't really take back everything I say. I still think the Raiders' record is going to stay as it is, 9-7, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. I would still say that they're 9-7. I don't think Abrams is that type of a game changer where he has wins above replacement level. The next game, Buffalo goes to Tennessee. It's the Tennessee Heat, man. Tennessee's a very solid, loaded roster, but at the same time, it's like I just had a fight with one of these guys on the Tennessee video, which receiving a bit of hate for, but honestly, you guys can kiss my ass. I'm not going to change my opinion just because I get a few dislikes on a video. He pointed out that like they brought in Christian Fulton, which I thought was a great pick at the time, like a really good steal. I think he has time to develop into a solid player, and I mean, they really just, I mean, yeah, they brought in some young pieces, but the problem is, I mean, they also talked about Darrington Evans. Like he's gonna replace Dion Lewis step for step? Like absolutely not. I mean, I hope he would, honestly, but that the chances of that are extremely super small, man. Like come on, Darrington Evans, like this guy's not like a round 2, round 1 pick. He's just more of like a guy who you can take a shot on, who has a lot of potential. And I mean, I don't blame Tennessee at all for doing it, but when people try to puff out their chest and say, "Dude, Dion Lewis and Logan Ryan are gone, but we have these two guys," like come on, like come on. Darrington Evans ain't gonna do shit this year, especially behind Derrick Henry. And then Christian Fulton needs some time to develop, man. He needs some time to develop. So Tennessee is not as loaded of a roster as people think, especially Tennessee Titans fans, but they're still definitely good enough to challenge Buffalo. And with the home field advantage, they take the cake. Next week, Kansas City is just overpowered. I mean, there's a reason why that man himself, Patrick Mahomes, got $503 million in his extension. I mean, it's deservedly so. I think that was a stupid move. I think I would have taken the discount, got more money outside, and then been able to sign more players, get more Super Bowls, get more money that way. But still, Kansas City is a loaded roster, pretty much. I mean, they have holes, but their holes are definitely covered over by the fact that they have elite talent everywhere. The next week, Buffalo goes to New York. Fuck Sam Darnold. Like, hashtag fuck Sam Darnold. I'm going to give this one to Buffalo. They're a pretty damn solid team. And, again, it's the zone scheme. I know that Sam Darnold can light it up at home, but, I mean, you guys are both in freaking New York. It's not like one team has an extreme advantage over the other. Like, same type of climates. And the zone scheme is going to fuck over the Jets. I know they have C.J. Mosley, solid linebacker, but it's one linebacker is not enough. You need multiple, and I know they have some options there, but it is like I'm pretty sure they have Jordan Jenkins and stuff, but I don't fuck with it that much, guys. I don't think that it is enough. I think they're more pass rushers than bona fide run stuffers. And their only run-stuffing asset in that linebacking core is C.J. Mosley, who is able to be blocked. I mean, I don't think that C.J. Mosley is such a game changer. This one's going to be far closer just because MetLife, it's MetLife. Next week, New England goes to Buffalo. Giving this one to Buffalo again, guys. New England is... I mean, okay, let's discuss the two scenarios. So this is without Jarrett Stidham. Obviously, the records are going to be without, because of the fact it started, with Jarrett Stidham without Cam Newton. It started out with Jarrett Stidham, so it's going to end with Jarrett Stidham. When we get closer to the year, when it starts, we'll re-go over this with Cam Newton. And then also, like, injuries and everything as well. Because obviously I don't predict the Eagles to be as good as they will be when they lost Brandon Brooks, and I think that there's a couple players on their team that just continue to get injured. But still, Buffalo is far superior. When Jarrett Stidham's around, Jarrett Stidham's going to get eaten alive by this defense. He got eaten alive by the Jets. Jets might not even have freaking Jamal Adams by this time, guys. So, I mean, that just makes this even more cake for this last game and the first game. So, Jamal Adams is a huge, best safety in the league, in my opinion. He and Derwin James are just absolutely above the rest. Creme de la creme, as we like to call it. Cream of the cream, top of the top. But still, not enough. So talking about New England, the secondary is going to haunt him. he's going to be seeing ghosts, and it's just going to be no bueno. Buffalo can run the fuck out of the ball here because New England lost 7 starters. So, on defense, it's just not going to be too good for them against Buffalo's rush attack. The following week, Seattle goes to Buffalo. Extremely different weather climate, even though Seattle's actually kind of good out on the Eastern time zone. I'm pretty sure they're pretty high with their percentage of win record in Buffalo. Or not in Buffalo, just on the Eastern time zone. But I'm going to give it to Buffalo here. Very solid defense. Russ can make it happen, but pass rush is really solid, and the run stuffing is also pretty top-notch. And I think that Seattle's defense is a little bit too weak right at the moment. The next week, Buffalo goes to Arizona. You're going into the desert. I know it's a dome situation, but Arizona's super powered as well, guys. Super powered. And it's just going to be no bueno for Josh Allen because he can't keep up with this high-powered offense. We got bye week. Then LA's Chargers are going to Buffalo. This is just, I don't even need to explain this. The only piece of the offensive line that's somewhat adequate is the fact that they have Brian Bulaga, who is 35, 36, and is completely not the guy that he used to be in Green Bay. And apart from that, this team's just going to eat him alive. There's just no point in talking about it. Following week, Buffalo goes to San Fran. San Fran is just a super-powered roster as well, very powerful. If I'm not mistaken, they're the number 1? Yes, number 1 in the NFC. So, I mean, they deserve that. They have a very solid D-line. Nick Bosa's a beast. Their linebacking core is young and very solid. Fred Warner leading it. And then the secondary, that's kind of their big question mark. And Mr. Richard Dick Sherman is doing a damn good job as a career resurgence. So, yeah, I mean, San Francisco, no need to explain anymore. Pretty damn solid team. And they're going to take the cake. Next week, Pitt goes to Buffalo. This is closing at December. It's going to be snowy, not very good for Pittsburgh's favor, and it's just Buffalo is way too at home when they're at home. They're too comfortable. Bills Mafia is going to be going off, and Pittsburgh's not going to be in their type of environment, even though they've dealt with snow before plenty of times. Following week, Buffalo goes to Denver. You're in the mile high, and this offense is way too high-powered to be able to keep up with it. So I think that this is just going to be a little bit too much of a chase for Buffalo to win. The following week, Buffalo goes to New England, Monday Night Football. I'm giving this back-to-back victories. They're sweeping in their division against New England. Again, with Cam Newton. Actually, I didn't get to answer this one earlier. With Cam Newton, I think this game is won. This game is still lost. Just because you're in Buffalo. I mean, Newton played in Carolina, so it's not like he's used to playing in these upper north areas. Yeah, when the lights are on, I think that Cam Newton can show out in his home stadium, but without him, nah. Without him, definitely here, no. Here, definitely not. With him, not. Yeah, same scenario as last time. You know the drill. Last week, Miami goes to Buffalo. Will Buffalo be able to squeeze out the 9-7 record? Yes. They are going 9-7, which I'm not sure yet, but I am pretty sure, unless Miami wins every single game that they play, that they are going to go into the playoffs. Damn, New England's really fucked over right now. I don't believe in Jarrett Stidham, and so far they're just eh. So, again, with Cam Newton, this record's different. So do not go off saying, oh my god, Cam Newton's going to make this team so much better. Look at my Cam Newton video if you want my thoughts on that. But this is a playoff game. Don't worry, guys. Auto-generated. We'll see what actually happens. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the far side. Peace.